Welcome to my kitchen. I am back with Cook the Book because I left it for too long and I've received some lovely new books. And one of them is The Modern Preserver's Kitchen. And this book is by Kylee Newton, and it's a book packed with, as the name suggests, lots of preserves, lots of delicious bakes, lots of food. And it's such a gorgeous, warm book. You can find pickles, ferments, savory foods, sweet, and I have chosen a lovely cake to bake from this today. So the recipe I am making is from this book, The Modern Preserver's Kitchen. I am making the coconut layer cake with lime tequila marmalade and cream cheese frosting. I have got here 3 8-inch round cake tins and I'm just going to grease it. I usually use butter. Today I'm using a little bit of oil and just brush it all over and then line it with some baking paper. So I'm going to start with 90 grams of unsalted softened butter. I'm going to add 90 ml of sunflower or rapeseed oil and 350 grams of caster sugar, and now beat this for a good 5 minutes until it's really creamy and pale and smooth. This is now really creamy and pale, and to this I'm going to add 200 grams of sour cream and also 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and then give it a good little mix for a minute. Here in a bowl I've got 350 grams of plain flour, adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of bicarb of soda and half a teaspoon of salt. Give it a little mix and then add 40 grams of desiccated coconut to this. Again, give it a good little mix and add a little at a time to the butter mixture. Add a little, fold it all in very gently. Try not kind of mix it too abruptly because we've developed lovely air in this, and add the rest of the flour little by little until you've mixed it all up. Here I have got 6 egg whites and I'm going to whisk it until it forms soft peaks. There, right there, and then going to add a little at a time to this cake mix. Add half and then fold it in, and add the rest of the half and fold it all in again until you have a smooth mix, smooth cake batter that is easily spreadable. Just be careful not to knock all the air out. Divide it into the 3 prepared cake tins and then just spread it evenly. And once you've done that, take 3 baking parchments cut to the size of the tin. Just spread a little bit of oil on top and then place this oiled paper on top of the cake tin. But before I do that, I'm just going to actually make a little bit of a dent in the middle so that it's easier for it to bake, and just place the paper on top. This is going to make sure that you have a flat top on the cake. This technique is going to help and make sure that that is how the cake bakes. So I preheated the oven to 200C or 180 fan, and I've put the cakes and I'm going to time it between 8 to 10 minutes. I'm going to check at 8 minutes first. This is the cake I'm quite excited about because I haven't made this kind of method before. So I'm really looking forward to it, and the whole method of covering the cakes with another layer of baking parchment while it's baking, and it's really high temperature and for less time. So yeah, it should be interesting. So the cakes have baked and they actually took much longer. They took around 23 minutes to be exact, because I checked them half time and they were still a bit raw in the middle. So now they are baked perfectly and they've got flat tops, and I'm going to let them cool completely. So now for the lovely layer of marmalade, and I did think that I've got marmalade at home, but turns out I haven't got any marmalade at home, so sorry Kylie. But she has shared some lovely marmalade and kind of preserves recipes in the book. So I have got some homemade raspberry jam in the fridge, homemade, and I'm going to use that instead. So I've got 150 grams of raspberry jam, and to this I'm going to add a little bit of warm water, around 70 ml, just kind of loosen it up. Just spread or brush it over the cakes. So for the icing, I have got here 400 grams of unsalted butter, which I left outside the fridge overnight, so it's nice and soft, but I'm still going to beat it for a couple of minutes before I add the sugar. So once it's creamed up a little bit, I'm going to add 100 grams of icing sugar and also a pinch of salt, and then beat it again for a few minutes until it's pale and fluffy. Next goes in 500 grams of cream cheese. I have to be honest, I haven't got 500 grams at home, but I've got quite a lot, 400. So I'm just going to use up what I have. It's really important to follow recipes, especially for baking, but it is not the actual cake I'm changing things to. So I'm changing things to the icing, and it's quite nice. I always say in my recipes as well that adapt to what you might have in the kitchen, and if you don't have particular thing, you might leave them out. It's easier to do it in cooking rather than baking, for sure. So the icing is looking lovely. I've got here 20 grams of desiccated coconut. I'm just going to blitz it one last time just to kind of bring it together and then layer it. So now goes in the first layer of cake. The cake is so soft and lovely. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the icing. So the icing is not going to be sickly sweet because it's got cream cheese in it. And not too much sugar, so that's going to balance the cake if it's too sweet. So just make sure that you've pushed it to the corners, and that will make more sense when I layer the cake up. Next, I'm really looking forward to trying this cake. Bit of icing, spread, and on goes the last layer. I've got a tiny bit left of the icing, and I'm going to just use it to kind of coat the outside. That's the finished cake. Now you can decorate this with, if you're using the lemon marmalade, then you can decorate with this with dried lemon, but I haven't used that, and I've just dry roasted some coconut flakes. They smell so good toasted, really nice, and I'm just finishing it with that. And here is the coconut marmalade, in my case raspberry cake, ready. Look at that. Now if you've been watching the channel, you know I don't want it extremely polished and finished, so this is like a nice kind of homely finish to my cake, and I can't wait to tuck in. And I will leave the details of the book and Kylee in the description below. So do check it out. If you're not eating it immediately, I would imagine you can put it in the fridge, take it out, get it to room temperature before serving. But I'm serving it to my friends quite soon, in a couple of hours, so I'm not putting it in the fridge. I'm going to leave it in one corner and then serve it as it is at room temperature.